I would not believe that without human intervention, over billions of years, grains of sand by themselves evolved into this phone. Agreed? Without human intervention.
I'll tell you what
without intent. Agreed.
This is the crucial vocabulary difference between us.
Gotcha.
The crucial concept between a non-believer such as myself and a believer such as yourself is the issue of intentionality.
Okay, agreed.
See, because a believer believes that the universe shares an intention that is benevolent to human beings.
So I think we're getting kind of ahead of ourselves. Right? Let's take it back, okay?
But I don't believe the universe has an intentionality.
I got you. Well,
yeah.
No problem.
Human beings have intentions.
Let's take it back to our example, right?
Okay.
So me and you agreed that without a designer, without a manufacturer, this would not evolve by itself.
There had to be intentionality behind it.
Thank you.
Yes.
I love your honesty, you know?
Yeah.
So now when we go to the human being, right? The human being is more complex than that phone. Your eyes, your brain, your facial recognition, your Siri that's inside your brain is no doubt more complicated.
Absolutely.
Agreed, right? Now, so just using the exact same logic that we used earlier, that if there had to be a designer, I'm not saying a human being necessarily, right? But there would have to be a designer. There would have to be somebody who designed and manufactured something as amazing as a human being. If it's true for the phone, it's more true for you.
Now I'm going to risk insulting you.
No problem, insult away.
Because I would say what you've drawn there is a false equivalence.
Why not? Why?
And the reason is that human beings existed long before iPhones.
True.
So we can derive one from the other because humans predate.
Excellent.
Whereas we don't know what really predates human beings.
But I do.
You do?
Yes.
Well, you believe you do.
I'll tell you why.
Okay. Tell me why.
Now, in the end, the fact that humans predated iPhones is also, in the end, a belief, because somebody told you that. Me and you were not there when the cavemans were around. We were not.
I've seen evidence.
Okay, but that evidence.
I've seen convincing evidence.
Convincing evidence.
Yes.
Excellent point.
Fossils.
I have seen convincing evidence, and I will show it to you, that there was a creator before the creation, and he's always been there and always will be there. Right? I got you. Relax. I'm the guy that you were waiting for this whole life.
All right. Well, tell me. No,
all right. I got you.
Tell me what is the
evidence?
I got
it.
Let's call it an original intention or an original causation.
I got you. No problem.
Let's call it that.
Let's take it there. Now, a man named Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he had a revelation, and he brought, this is my belief, and I'll explain, right?
Okay.
And he brought a book forth, the Quran that you have, which tells us all this information, right?
Okay.
Now, for example, a scientist that brings his research and brings his facts, even though I may not be able to physically go and verify that, like you said, I find it convincing because of the honesty or because of trust that I put in those scientists or those, like for example, if tomorrow the National Institute of Health says that, cancer is caused by this issue because of this, we put that trust, right? So
but the trust is earned.
Earned, agreed.
It's earned because there are
100% I agree with you.
Of scientists who test the same premise.
Well, scientists do disagree on issues, but
what we call science is generally agreed to. Because
so for example, the theory of gravity, right? There are scientists that disagree with it, right? A theory of evolution. There's differences between evolutionists on how it happened, but I will agree with you that trust is earned. Okay.
Right.
Now, I would like to ask you then, a man who could not read or write, right? He was illiterate, right? How could he bring forth a book that talks about the development of the child in the womb of the mother? How could it talk about things that he had never been to where there's salt water? So how could he talk about the separation between sweet and salt water?
I'll tell you the answer.
Go ahead. I love to hear it.
The answer is, in a sense, a seed to what we have in common.
Okay.
And the way a man, a divine individual such as Muhammad could have conceived of things for which he had no evidence is through his imagination and his inspiration.
Excellent question. Okay.
And that's my answer to you.
Good. Do you write or read Pashto, my language?
No, I do
Pashto,
not.
okay?
No, I do not.
If you came with a book in Pashto, that as somebody who is Pashtun, I go to my top Pashtun linguists and they tell me we cannot write anything like it, and you're an illiterate person, right?
I have a very
Right?
good imagination.
Your
Perhaps my
imagination, your
imagination is
imagination,
inspired.
I mean, realistically,
Uh-huh.
imagination cannot bring you that eloquence in
Let me
writing.
give you
Hold
a
on,
parallel.
but that's
Okay.
only one, right?
Go
We're getting
ahead.
there, right? So I want to put these forth, and then I'd love your feedback. I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Good.
Because you're civil, and many people just get upset. I love the fact that we can have a
No,
conversation, right?
I'm open to learning. I'm
Excellent.
a student of life.
Wonderful. Inshallah, you're a Muslim soon. So now, come on, let's give it that one. All right. So now, if that by itself was there, meaning when the Arab, they heard the Quran, those poets, now the Prophet Muhammad, you can look it up. Karen Armstrong, a non-Muslim historian, wrote about his life. You can look, if you want, I can give you the book for free. All of them said he couldn't read or write. He never wrote poetry. He was not a poet.
Right.
Unlike your friend, he was not a poet. So when the Quran, when you recited it, and the Quran challenged the Arab poets that bring something like it, those Arab poets said, we cannot. They said, this book could not have been written by this man. Now, as a skeptic, and again, I wasn't raised Muslim, so I went through all these struggles myself. You could say somebody else wrote it, right?
Or many people.
Or many people wrote it. But then, why would they not take credit for it? If I write something that's really amazing, that would put me on a pedestal, why would I be like, nah, he wrote it? Right?
Because you're not an egotist, you're a believer.
Okay, excellent. So if you're a believer, would you put somebody as a lie forward?
No, not intentionally.
Then
no.
exactly. So then that cannot be. Now, let's take it to the second step.
Okay.
There are scientific facts that if they were guesswork, if it was imagination, then some would be right and some would be wrong.
That's where I have to disagree with you. See,
Let's go for it.
imagination is not the same as guesswork.
Okay,
And I'll give you the example.
excellent.
Okay, Albert Einstein,
Sure,
who came up with the general theory of relativity
sure. E equals
Okay.
mc squared.
through mathematics,
Excellent.
through the abstraction. They say that music and mathematics is the most abstract that the human mind can get.
Interesting.
They had none of the technology to test whether
Excellent.
his theories
Well,
were, but now they do.
Well, even today
So
we're kind of
how do you-
arguing about the speed of light and what happened because we haven't been
Well,
able to actually go at the
We
speed
look
of...
at it differently.
Yeah.
For example, scientists no longer view gravity as a force.
Excellent.
They look
Yeah.
at it as a feature of space-time. The
I'm
more
with
mass
you.
something has, the more
Sure.
of a curve it gives to space and
So
time.
Einstein, did he study math?
Yes,
Okay.
but
The-
he didn't test any of his theories.
I got you. But he studied math.
Yes,
So he had a base that he studied and he
Yes.
brought forth his own ideas.
yes.
Some of them were wrong. Some of his early theories were, I've read his
Well,
life.
yeah,
There's many of his early theories
Were
he himself
discarded, some were discarded.
he himself discarded them.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
So this was in an essence guesswork in the sense not blind guesswork.
Not blind.
I agree with you. Now the Prophet Muhammad never studied science. You see the difference, right?
No,
and
I'm seeing
for
the
him,
similarity. I'm saying that.
So you get somebody
that
who
your
couldn't
Prophet
even read or
Muhammad
write.
and Albert Einstein share the fact that they are motivated by their inspiration and their imagination,
Right.
as opposed to be able to prove something in the hand.
But there's a
at this
difference,
moment.
right?
Right.
Einstein studied math.
Yes.
And based on the works of earlier mathematicians, he developed his theories. Many of them he realized were wrong, and he changed them. Correct?
Yes.
The
yes.
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, never studied science. He never studied literature. In fact,
He was
he
illiterate.
couldn't. He was.
Yeah. No.
You're
I
there,
get you.
right?
But he did
now,
study
hold
something
on.
else.
One thing, though.
He did study something
Go ahead.
else. His own life
That is true.
and his existence.
But his life could not tell him that sweet water and salt water touch and don't mix because he had never been there. Read his biography.
Right. Well, I'd
So
have to. I haven't
excellent.
read it. I haven't read his biography.
If you want to read there's many good books on his biography. If you
Okay.
like, I can send you one, or I can give you some names. No
that's
problem.
okay. You've given me a lot today.
Excellent, excellent.
I wanted to give you something before I go.
Please.
I have to take care of.
I have one more thing for you too, but go ahead.
Well, you first.
All right. So there is a historic event that happened where the moon split. I know it sounds an extraordinary event. I have a video where I scan all the documents. I'll give you a link to it. Watch it. And these many, and because of time, I'm not going deep into it, but the Quran, the scientific miracle, historic miracle, prophecies, linguistic miracles, physical miracles, these are evidences that this man wasn't making something up on his own. And that means that what was brought, the Quran, has a message that I can say is a divine message. So when the Quran then tells us...
Then you believe it was transmitted to him.
Yes, it was revealed
Okay,
to him, not
okay.
written by him, not imagined by him.
But
It was
revealed to
revealed.
him. Okay.
You're getting it. I love
understand.
this. This is wonderful.